Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Hey, good... That's my phone, isn't it? Hey, good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, wherever you get your podcasts. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here. Shawn Belle will be here shortly. He's on his way in, as he is every Wednesday. So for a few minutes here, we got YouTube Trev.
Yeah.
Tube, as Dave Jameson.
You're Tube now.
Him.
I kind of like that.
When was it Monday last week when Dave came in? At one point, he just looked at him and was like, "Hey!" I think when you walked in, he's like, "Hey, Tube."
Immediately.
I heard him say that, and I will say, like, as much as I love our morning boys, they're our heart and soul. It was nice to see JMO back in for like a regular shift. Just I know for a limited amount of time, but I was like, and then you and him were like freaking frack.
Oh, it's fun. Like the chemistry just was. It's like we did a show the week prior.
Yeah.
And we hadn't done it for like probably 18 months or something like that. So it was wonderful.
And you mixed Tube in there.
Yep. Tube was there.
In there.
But that's the thing with JMO is like he is like very sharp and on the he's very off the cuff and he'll just throw a name like Tube at you and you're like, yeah, that works.
It does work.
The one thing though was it's not like he took it seriously. But he was not serious as much as he was with like the Dave Jameson show when he was the host.
Yeah.
He was like, there's a little bit more freedom almost, I think, with him, where when we were doing the show, he was able to maybe make a few more jokes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because, well, one, he's not having to host the show. He got to do my role. But then also it's just, we're not with that corporate world and we could have a little bit more fun here. So it was wonderful. We'll have to get him back. He's actually going to be on the Hangout in a few weeks.
Excellent. I love JMO.
Because I got another individual that's coming in, Mark Rogers, and Dave wanted to jump on with him as well.
Excellent.
So we'll have a fun hangout that way. The EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Right now, it is snowy savings. First 4 weeks free plus free cancellation. Find a convenient location nearest you, sentinel.ca. I do want to get into the TGL later in the show because I do have thoughts on
Bay won?
The Bay didn't just win.
They destroyed.
The Bay dominated New York. It was just a beatdown. I do have thoughts on that. The Oilers, we have to get to that. And when Belza gets here, we also have to get into his birthday celebrations.
The
birthday boy.
Yeah.
Big 4-0, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. He turned 40 and it was he turned his daughter's birthday into his birthday party. And it was great.
Beautiful.
Sounds proper.
Yeah.
He doesn't look 40.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Looks very good. I wonder what he did. Did he go hard? Or did he party hard?
He's got some salt on the chin now, but
did he is he having like EST
did he have a rager?
Classic / golf tournament the next day type hangover? Or
I don't think so. No, because it was like right before going back to work, right?
That's fair.
Yeah, but it was good. It was like an afternoon thingy, and a lot of people showed up.
Good.
Evie was the birthday princess, and then Belzy, there was Beauty and the Beast. He was the Beast, she was the Belle.
That was adorable.
The Beauty, yeah.
She
is adorable. Yeah. He's adorable, but she's more adorable. And Lindsay, his wife, is she's a saint.
Yes. I loved the Hendrix on Gager's lap. I'm so happy you caught that.
Gager, like, first of all, Gager had no idea it was Belzy's birthday.
What do you do?
Yeah. It was, here comes a bull named Gager. He's Hendrix. He's going to give him 8 seconds. And Joaquin, like, just grabbed Hendrix. Hendrix is Shawn's second child that was born in September. And he's like, come here. And then, like, Gager's just holding him with one hand. And Hendrix just, like, lying there. And I was like, adorable. Oh, my God, Gager. And I asked Gager, I'm like, are you sad because your roommate moved out? Roommate being his son. He goes, yes, Tommy, I actually am. Yeah. And you could just see, and Gager was great with Hendrix. It was hilarious. We were all busting their gut laughing. So I'm glad you liked that video.
Yeah, I love that one a lot.
Are you guys good with kids?
I guess so.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely I want to have kids one day. I want to coach. Like I want to be a kind of like Dusty. I want to coach my kids. I think that would be a lot of fun. Growing up, like I had younger cousins, and I was kind of I was a brat to them. But like as I've gotten, like I was a prick. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I feel like you have to do that if you're the older one. So yeah, I think I'm good with kids. I love kids.
Like, will you hold them or anything?
I shy away
Sure.
from it. Like I'm always scared. Like it's always very intense for me. I'm like, oh gosh, don't mess up. But as I've grown older, I love kids.
Here's an interesting thing. Do you want to add something?
No, go ahead.
I want to say this. Like I like kids. I do. And people are like, oh, are you afraid of kids? No, not at all. And like, I enjoy being around them. I find them amusing and fun. Like if I had one, I think I would own the living crap out of being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't go out of my way to like try to present that to people. I get annoyed by those who are like overly like, oh, I need the kid with me. Doesn't this look amazing? Like, no, shut up.
Excessive.
Don't be that way. That annoys me. That's just a pet peeve, and I'm blowing off some steam. But I
agree. I like that.
Like Evie, Belzy's daughter she's amazing. I love her. I think she's fantastic. And then Hendrick's super cute. So I get annoyed by the people that are like, give me the kid. Oh my God, the kid. Oh, the kid. And it's like overly trying to like show something. And you're like, stop.
It's too much. Like this
is gross. Obnoxious.
My mom, like whether it was soccer or hockey growing up, like if I have anything or just out in public, she sees like my mom would go up to random people and be like, can I hold your baby? And I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, can I, like, it was honestly, it was the worst. So like my mom's the exact same thing. And I can't stand that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Anyway, I just thank you for understanding. Because I get it.
I can't hold the kid until they could hold their neck up. That's my one rule. I'm too scared.
Yeah,
when there's a newborn, I'm like my niece or something. I will sit down like I am right now, and somebody will have to physically place the kid properly in my arms. Almost spilled. And then when it's time, like, hey, I'm done. Like somebody has to come and pick it up. Like, like the only way I'm getting up with that kid and moving is if there's a fire. And it's like, okay, we gotta get going.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like I'm not moving. Like somebody's got to get this kid, or I'm stuck here forever.
I get that feeling too. You're like, oh my God, this is like precious. Like I get hold.
I'm nervous. I'm scared.
Oh, this little bundle of love.
Moment they can hold their neck up, I'm fine.
Yeah.
If you want to give me the kid, I'm not going to be the person that goes up. Can I hold?
Yeah.
I'm not that. Because I know like in my family around a lot of little kids, so many other people want to hold a kid, so I'm cool. But it's like, hey, do you want to hold? Sure, give it to me. Yeah. And I can have fun with them.
Give it to me.
Yeah, give them to me. So, but it's the neck part. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
My family makes fun of me for it.
Yeah.
This is a little life.
Yeah, but then there's some like
very delicate.
Yeah.
Grandmas and they all just pick them up and they have no problem. Then like Gage are holding one hand and they're talking and they're moving around. And you're just like, oh my God, how are you doing that? Like that is terrifying. But
to Hendrick's credit, he's at 3 months, and I think Belsey said it already started a few weeks ago. He can keep his head up, like he's neck strong enough. And he's already like trying to crawl.
It's about 3 months.
Yeah.
I think it's about 3 months, generally in that range.
I guess
strong baby.
And it's
strong
a kid.
baby. He's got
Bring
good
on
genes.
the kid.
Good genetics.
Bring on the
good
kid.
Speak of the devil.
There's the birthday boy.
There he is.
Thank you to Trev for being in here. Happy
Nice
belated.
one for you, Belsley.
Oh, of course.
Happy belated. Nice jacket there.
Happy birthday.
We've got Shawn Belle now joining us on the EST Hangout,
Hey,
presented
hello.
by Sentinel Storage.
Thank you, Trev.
Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome.
How are things? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Things
are great.
The 8th.
Well,
I'm
yourself?
good with that.
Well,
I'm good.
I guess they're great. Dolphins are out.
Yeah, but
So
they
that
suck.
sucks.
Yeah, but
There's so much hope. To start the season, there was a lot of hope.
and then it fell off.
Now Tyreek wants out.
That was highly entertaining to watch, I have to admit. When he went through that interview and he basically is like, I'm out.
What did Tyreek do this
like,
year?
Whoa.
Oh, he hasn't done anything. But I mean, when you have a player that's supposed to be a top 5 receiver, like there's got to be some hope. Like there's some legit skilled players there.
No, I know, but him wanting out, like, how old is he?
Oh,
He's
good
30.
question.
So he's closer to the back end of his career than the front end.
He's got 2 years left on his deal,
Is
too.
it 2 years left?
Yeah.
You could probably get a decent pick
Second
for him.
rounder? Third rounder?
Maybe. Maybe you convince him to still stick around.
I
Gotta go.
understand his
Fair.
rationale, though. He only knows playoff football, right? And this is the first time I get where he's coming from. It is a bit selfish.
I kind of am going to disagree with you just a little bit.
Okay.
Only because, like, if you look at the last couple seasons and you can actually add a lot of the regular season games, he was abysmal in multiple playoff games.
You think it's an attitude thing?
The amount of drops that he's had in like high stakes games is outrageous. He's probably dropped 10 touchdowns
That's
by
not
himself this year.
How much do you think the arrest and that whole spectacle at the start of the season affected him, and maybe his decision to say what he did after the game on Sunday?
I don't know.
Because that was bad.
It was.
That was really
not
bad.
Well, I think that because did he hurt his wrist in that incident, or did he hurt his wrist
knee
just
was
sore?
banged up.
He
too.
hurt his wrist like earlier in the year.
But I think then that messed with his wrist more
Maybe.
because the wrist, like he's holding off on surgery, or whatever, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, until the end of the
Like
season.
you're talking about like the incident that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that hurt his wrist more. You're right. Yes.
And then he hasn't. I think so. I think to your like he hasn't been the same for that, but it might be also because like he got hurt more.
Yeah, those cops
Yeah.
were assholes. I'll just say it.
Yeah.
yeah, it was tough.
That
Very tough.
ridiculous. He's outside the stadium driving what was he driving? Like a McLaren or something
Something
or a
like
Lambo?
that.
A beautiful car,
Yeah.
one that I'll never afford.
He's Tyreek Hill. And the cops are giving him crap.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I know the cops have a hard job, but like in that instance, awful.
Yeah.
Your team came close.
Close
was-
only counts with horseshoes and hand grenades.
Absolutely.
Buddy.
But take away the expectation from the start of the year, from where the Dolphins were at one point, Tua hurt. The fact, like, it looked like it was done. And the fact that they were did they beat the Jets on Sunday? I don't even, because I didn't
No,
pay
they
attention.
lost
They
the
lost them.
Jets.
It didn't matter though. The Broncos were, but if like they were that one win, one loss away from being in the playoffs, it was that close. So that's something that
So that's underachieving, realistically.
based off the start of the year. But if we go based on what happened like halfway through the season, I would say they overachieved.
So
a
Tua
little
was
bit.
hurt for what, 3 weeks?
Is that all it was?
Is it 3 weeks or 4 weeks? And in those 3 to 4 weeks, they had Huntley, they had their Skylar Thompson, and it was like you put this quarterback in your lineup, you insert him in your lineup, and it's like your team is completely fallen off a cliff. Receivers, do they not know how to run open anymore? Just because it's like Huntley versus Tua?
That's an
You know,
attitude
you know
problem.
what I mean? Like
He played
it's,
September 12th, and then he didn't play again until October 27th.
well,
And I don't know if there was a buy in there or not.
I think there might have been.
But
But regardless, like it's not like Tyreek forgets how to run a route. Does he?
No,
When Tua's not around?
no.
Does Waddle
the
forget?
attitude.
Like it's just that's my point. It's just like,
Attitude,
man.
Thank you.
actually Tua's record when he came back was actually pretty incredible. Lost to Arizona right when he came
Yeah,
back.
he
Yeah.
did.
Lost to Buffalo by 3 points.
They should have won
Ram-
that game because Tyreek dropped a touchdown.
Okay, that one, then 4 of 5. Lost to Houston, then he finished off his season being San Francisco. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 4 right after injury.
You
That's
got
not bad.
crumbled. Yeah.
Considering like how bad that injury did look. I think there's still promise for the Dolphins going into next season.
I'm scared for Tua, honestly.
Well, yeah, I would be terrified for Tua too if
Yeah.
you didn't have an offensive line that could protect you and you were injury prone.
Yeah, that injury looked awful this year. They always do. The way he gets concussed is awful.
Yeah, it looks real bad. But I mean, like, let's be honest, it's football, and there's been lots of guys that have had concussions. I'm pretty sure Josh Allen had like multiple concussions this year. One for sure. Whatever, it's all good. He just gets up, he's 6'4",
He's a
Hulk,
beast.
and
Yeah.
nobody says anything. But it feel like it's because Tua is so little, and it just looks so bad.
Get him a Guardian cap.
He doesn't want it.
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
That should almost be like
why wouldn't he want it?
I think that maybe that's the thing, the NFL, if they want to go a next step, like if you've been diagnosed with X amount of concussions,
You gotta put
the
it
Guardian
on.
cap is now becomes a mandatory
Yeah,
part of your equipment or something like that. That we're taking this decision out of your hands completely
yeah.
and we're putting this there.
I saw one O lineman wearing one in Tampa on Sunday.
Yeah, there's a few guys like
a
around
few
the
this
league.
season.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, but I just saw one on Sunday. Usually I catch them pretty quickly, and I just saw the one. They've done a good job like making them blend in.
Yeah.
I'll give them
Very
credit
good
for
job.
that. Hey, we were talking about Hendricks and Gager at your birthday / Evie's birthday.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like Maddie and I agree with Maddie. Like when the babies, their neck is still too weak to support their head. Like I'm very cautious and scared.
I'm terrified of holding them.
And Maddie says he's terrified. Brent texts in and says, one day you're holding your kid like they are glass. In no time, you're WWE wrestling with them.
100%. Yeah. I remember like my daughter when she was young, I just like, she was so delicate. And then now it's like I get her and I just toss her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she really enjoys
She
that. I
loves it.
witnessed that.
She
Was there a
loves it.
difference between how you held her when she was a baby to Hendricks?
No.
For like, were you a
No.
little less cautious with Hendricks? Because like,
100%
yeah,
less
like,
cautious. Yeah. Like,
seen this, done this. You know, I'm good.
Yeah. 100%.
And we were talking about Gager with him.
Oh yeah. Gager is hilarious. with
Gager,
him.
yeah. It was so good.
Too funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, he's motoring around. He's trying to at least.
Yeah.
He's starting to giggle. It's kind of funny. It's like the progression, just watching the kids progress, and
It's coming up
How
on 4
quickly?
months.
he'd be about
This was September, right?
yeah, he was September 25th, so he's just over 3 months.
2 days after the best day in the world.
Yeah, apparently.
Yom Kippur. I always wondered what that was. It's my birthday.
I will get to. Let's get into the Oilers right here. But Jasmine, she's hopping into a chorus. So she messaged in the nasty chat. She'll watch later. But TGL was a sausage fest. If you looked at the crowd,
Chingy?
TGL.
No, that's Jasmine.
Oh, yes,
Chingy.
she goes by Chingy.
When you looked at it, it was like, yeah, that's a bunch of dudes that are all there. Let's go Oilers though. They're first. They rolling, them rolling.
Yeah,
They see me rolling. They hate it.
sure.
Well done.
Thank you.
What is
they
it?
look
5
great.
straight in Boston.
Five
You said?
straight in Boston, 4 in a row.
They're
Just overall.
I predicted over 9.5 points or 8.5 points on this road trip.
Yes, you did.
So they're a win and an overtime loss or 2 wins away from accomplishing that. They got Pittsburgh and Chicago left. I'm feeling pretty good
Where
about
would
this
they
right now.
be right now if they just decided to like show up in California? And not even
They would be right there with Vegas.
Not even the Kings game. Like you can. The
Okay, so you're
Kings
saying
game
2
was
more
back and
points.
forth.
You're saying 2 more points.
They'd be, I think, 4 points back of Vegas
Yeah.
They'd be what 16-2 and 1.
since November 9th.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Ooh,
Not good
what a
enough.
streak.
Imagine if they started the season off just slightly better.
Ah, whatever.
But that's like,
Apparently now that these guys just they don't show up to start the season on time. They're kind of like,
and why bother?
Why bother?
But
Because
it's
it
like,
creates anxiety for the fan base.
well, the thing is that's on the fan base.
Well,
Hernan got the tweet out there. I told him at one point during that, I said, you could tweet this right now. There's nothing to worry about. The Oilers will be in the playoffs. Book it. Like there was nothing to worry about. It was all fine. They're too good. But it's like, that's like, but you look at that California series and like the panic that and the anger I saw for those 2 games. And it was like, just, there's going to be losses. This team's going to stumble. Any good team has those stumbles.
Yeah.
And you zoom out and you look at the record of the last 25 or whatever, and you're like, yeah, that's unbelievable.
I don't disagree with you. I think the problem is the way they lose.
because it's so indifferent usually,
It's
like their
so
attitude.
like it's just when they lose, it's because they're just like they don't even enter the building.
That's true.
Outside of maybe the LA game, the LA game was a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
It was a back and forth game. So, take that obviously in stride, but at the same time, like for the most part, when they lose games, they're not entering the building. Their bodies might,
Anaheim, perfect.
their
example.
souls are not there. And so I think
it doesn't matter.
That's what's so frustrating to the fan base is that like you sit back and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm going to sit here and invest my time watching this game, invest my money watching this game. And the team is just like, are you here today? And so that's why I think that's why the fans get so upset.
Because they're reserving themselves. They're holding on to energy until the playoffs. It's an 82-game season.
Because it's an old man team.
Oh, there's that. It's old man.
That
team.
it is.
And they know that the grind of the season, that they're fine. I'll say this: they probably don't have that much. Like their goal is Stanley Cup, and they don't think they need home ice necessarily for it. They're confident in themselves, no matter what. That once they get to the playoffs, they're going to roll. They're going to get going, and they don't need to pick it up until March, fully.
Glenn Anderson told me something. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Glenn Anderson told me something. I remember we were doing, I can't remember, it was 84 reunion or 85 100th anniversary, greatest team, whatever it was. And I was like, which team, and this was off the cuff. We weren't on camera or recording or anything like that. I'm like, hey, which one of those Stanley Cup teams, Glenn, do you think was the best out of the 5? And he goes, 88. And I was like, 88. I'm like, okay, well, but you guys didn't like break a lot of records or anything like that. Like it wasn't personal best seasons. I think Wayne was hurt for a bit. And he goes, yeah, that's true. But like in the regular season, we knew what it took to get there. And then he goes, how was our record in the playoffs? I'm like, I think you guys went like 16-2 and didn't lose at Northlands. He goes, exactly, because we knew how to win. And we weren't that worried about how we placed in the regular season, President's Trophy, and personal accolades. He's like, we just got to the playoffs, and when the playoffs came, we just let our instincts take over.
Do you think that this team is the same way?
That's the thing. I don't. I really don't.
I could see them mentally being the same,
But they
I
have
could
the
see them
experience,
mentally
yeah.
sitting there going, "We know what it takes to get to a cup final now.
Yeah.
This is a long. We'll be in the playoffs. We're
But
going to get it done." And I don't think they're the ones that will sit there and say to themselves, like a lot of fans will be like, "Well, if Game 7 was in Edmonton, what would things be different?" I don't think
Maybe.
they do that. I think they may sit there and go, "We needed to have won one of the first 3 games.
Yeah.
We needed to have not dropped 3-0, and we would have won the Stanley Cup." That was their issue. And it wasn't home ice. It was the fact that they got off to a slow start in that series.
Yeah.
I think they're very confident in themselves to sit there and say, "We're fine."
I think there is truth to that. I really do. Is it to the extent of the 88 Oilers who were defending Cup champs and had won it 3 times in the last 4 years? No, but you're right. I think there's some merit to that. Because it's a different league now. Obviously.
I don't think they're arrogant in the sense, but I think they have the cockiness to them that they rightfully deserve. Conference finals, what was it? Second round exit, Stanley Cup finals in the last 3 playoffs.
They've lost the last 3 Stanley Cup champions.
Lost, like they are, like, outside of winning the cup, they've had probably some of the most successful seasons that you could possibly have over the last 3 years. So I think they sit there and go, yeah, no, we'll get there. Once we're in the playoffs, it's a different animal. So yeah, this game a couple days before New Year's in Anaheim, yeah, we're not up for it. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Hey, look, here's the thing. I'm not trying to gatekeep fans or anything like that, but we don't get playoff fans for 41 games a year at Rogers Place,
and
right?
trust me, I've already said that I don't think that you're always going to get the Oilers A+ game. So there's a very like real sense of I get that portion of it. And even if you play your C game, it's the games where like when I get frustrated with them, it's like they played their D or their F. It's like, okay, come on, guys. Like if you lose at a C, okay, it is what it is.
You just don't want the failure ones.
But I just don't like the ones where it's like, I'm just not showing up. Because like as a fan, and trust me, I haven't paid money to pay like for a ticket, so I can't really speak to this.
We're lucky.
But I know enough people that pay every single day that it's not cheap and they got to go to these games and they work hard for that. And then when there's a no-show, I understand why people get so upset. So I understand it.
Well, but I
also realistically understand too, you're not going to get the A+ game every single day.
I'll care more once like we get past 4 nations.
That's go time.
That's go time. There's no the night off. If you're going to have the night off, which naturally will happen, it's got to be a B loss type thing, maybe a C+ type thing. I won't accept it because now you're revving up for the playoffs and you got to get going. Yeah. Before now, like a game in December, We're all coming out of Christmas break. They're coming out of their own Christmas break. Like people going to work aren't trying hard themselves.
Last week was sleepy.
It was very sleepy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back to work. But I mean, if you're playing devil's advocate, everybody will sit there and say, you make millions to play a game, you better show up.
That's
devil's advocate, obviously.
Yes.
And, you know.
But it's a job still, just like anyone else. And they're going to treat it, they're humans, just like everyone else. And if you are a top employee, like if you're making 6 figures, it's not like you're working harder over Christmas just you're making 6 figures over the minimum wage workers in this province. So I give them the passes of those. And partly I give them the passes with those ones at the time because it was just like they were rolling in the month of December. So they can have an F game to me. I'm cool with that.
It is incredible, though, how for some, and I strongly believe that it is a vocal minority, and we saw it on the post-game shows over that weekend. Not so much the LA game, but definitely the Anaheim game, and it bled into the week leading up to the Utah game, how it just derails people's confidence in the group. And now some of it, I think, is alcohol-fueled.
You wouldn't say.
But it was a 2:00 game.
Yeah,
it was an early game.
It was an early game.
I feel like it was alcohol.
People are getting
fueled.
after it.
Yeah, they're
getting that day drunk.
They're wrapping up their Christmas break and having a little cocktail, maybe a mimosa. I don't know. Coffee and Bailey's at 2:00 watching the game, and people were popping off, and it like sowed doubt heading into that game against Utah. And I was just like, whoa.
That's maybe the thing I have more issues with. I can understand the anger towards a specific game, like the Anaheim game, being mad at that.
Yeah.
But the like playoffs, it's going to be tough. Like they got to make these massive trades. Like that overreaction is where I go, like, calm down. I can understand maybe, and maybe that's where like it's the singular. If you want to just focus and zero in on that Ducks game and be upset by their performance or critique their performance, that's all right.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it leads though to like another wasted season, wasted season. Like it's all over. Like they're not going to be able to make any moves at the deadline. This is can they sign Connor? Like it's that part where it's like they've done well. Like what are we doing here?
And then Hernan and I are sitting there like taking this fire. We're like, hey, they play Utah on Tuesday. They could win that game, right? Like,
No, not with that performance.
Like
it can't be done. It's over. Like it's.
It reminds me of my time in like playing in Montreal. So I was up, for the few games there, and I think they came on a Western swing. They lost to Vancouver. They lost to.
They usually lost here.
They usually.
Carey Price didn't win.
Carey Price was awful in Edmonton.
0-3.
Yeah,
and then they went back to Montreal. I got called up. We lost to Colorado in OT. Was it OT? No, it was in regulation. It actually went off my foot.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Yeah. But I was like. We go out to a restaurant, we're eating, and a fan comes up. He's like, "Are you guys ever going to win a game?" And I kind of just like looked at him, and I was like, "Well, yeah, there's 78 more. I think we might win one."
Not good enough.
He kind of like looked at me, and I'm like, "Man, it's 4 games. Like it's all good." And the one was a fluke. I tied my guy up, and it went off my skate and in the net. So like, what do you want? And then he just kind of walked away, and I was just like, "Man, like." Can you imagine being that mad? Do you think we're never going to win again?
And you're like, I'm signing in Edmonton next year.
It's,
man.
Well, like
Wild.
Moneyball, for those that read Moneyball and not watch it, there's a number Billy Bean came up with. I think it was like 32 or something. He said if you field the worst team in baseball, statistically, you'll win 32 games or something like that over the 160.
Yeah.
You're actually going to win some hockey games. But I love the, you ever going to win?
You ever going to win again?
You ever going to find a win?
I think so.
Good chance that might happen.
Maybe one at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to think 2-80 is possible.
Absolutely.
Couple of
sure
wins.
it is.
A couple,
Why
like
not?
but even one in the 1 year and then one in the new year. Like you should be able to accomplish that if you're a hockey
think
team.
about like even all the teams through the decade of darkness, they were not good.
What was the worst NHL season ever?
It was
But
like
that
Washington or
Colorado season that they had like 2 years after it kind of ended was like beyond bad.
I think that was the modern era's worst season.
74-75 Washington Capitals played 80 games.
Yeah.
They were 8-67-5. They had a 131 or winning percentage, which is the lowest in NHL history. But in there, that's 8 wins still.
Ooh, yeah,
you managed
there you
8 wins. And that was a different time.
Avs had like 14 that one.
Philadelphia Quakers, 30-31. They're winning, but they only played 44 games, but their winning percentage is 136. If we go now back, Senators and Sharks of 92-93, 84 games played. Sens won 10 games. Sharks won 11.
Oof.
Like
that's not good.
But that's double digits wins still.
Yeah.
Like there is a certain amount that you could come.
Were those the 84 games seasons? Because there was like 2 years where they played 84.
92-93. Yeah. Those both were 84 games.
Only winning 10 games in 84.
Awful.
And then the Sens the next year, 93-94, 84 games. They won 14 games. So in the course of 2 seasons, they won 24 games.
I think they beat the Oilers at Northlands that one year, and I had tickets to that game. I remember going with my dad and being like, "Oh, they're going to beat the Ottawa Senators," and they didn't.
They won 24 of 168 games in 2 seasons.
That's good, right?
Oh, there were some bad. The Oilers aren't even on this list anywhere.
That's
No,
Of
because they
worst
would get,
win
like,
percentage?
70
That's the point.
points.
Like you'd get
60-70 points.
decent amount of points, but like I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was good, but it wasn't as bad as some of the worst teams. And like the Decade of Darkness obviously sucked for a lot of people.
They're not in the worst 50.
Well, there you go.
That's what I'm now going to see where
Where was that Avs team from? Like
16, 17? Was
years
that
ago?
16, 17?
Somewhere.
They're 50 then. Because 16, 17, there was an Avs team, 82 games, 22 wins. They had a win percentage of 293.
Ooh.
Now I'm into the next category here. Where did the Oilers first pop up on this list? The Oilers weren't even in the top 100 of worst teams.
Well, that's good. Right?
92-93 Oilers or 142nd worst season. I don't think I've seen a Decade of Darkness yet.
That's when the wheels fell off.
The worst 2 seasons.
Oh, there we go. 186, 187, 188. Worst seasons ever in NHL history. 2009, 2010, 2010, 2011, 2014, 2015. So those Decade of Darkness are still, there's 185 teams worse than them in NHL history.
Impressive.
And we thought it was just so awful here. It was.
It was bad.
But it wasn't as awful as
It was bad, yeah.
Wasn't that awful.
I remember they had
Like
a
it
1
still-
win in 21 game stretch, and it was like December 3rd. People are like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I drink a lot. I'm fine. I
You
didn't
had to have
lose."
your PSAs out there at that time. Hey?
Yeah, I didn't lose the game, but I drink a lot.
I still think we should make a PSA.
I forgot about those until you just said that.
Oh yeah, that would be hilarious.
Just make one. And
That
just
would
as
be
soon
great.
as the Oilers lose, you just before you even get on the Oil Stream post game, you just
It's the
Post
disclaimer to
that.
start the first commercial.
Hi, I'm Shawn Belle, former Edmonton Oiler. I just want to let you know, stop it.
or,
Get help.
is your team making you drink?
Yeah.
Have you tried going a little bit harder?
No.
You should crack open one more right now.
Have a 6 o'clock
You should
lager
have a
and a shot
whiskey.
of birdie booze. Yeah.
Go hard.
Yeah. If any of the psychiatrists in this building saw that commercial, they'd be like, we need to have a meeting with you guys.
Yeah.
I think they need to have a meeting with a lot of us for various other reasons too.
Probably. That's what makes us fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're messed up to be doing what we're doing. So
Yeah.
Classic.
Is what it is,
very
though.
true, but it's good.
Okay, I have a text that I need to get to. It's from Coach Mike. Text us, of course, 780-218-9999. Coach Mike says, has Knobloch successfully turned Skinner into a third-line player, or was that his intention? Is Knobloch searching for a scoring third line? Coach Mike. Belsey, I'll let you handle that one.
Well, he's always been a top 6, but right now I think he's perfectly suited on a third line, playing against lesser opponents and being able to score. So, like, I think the hope for the Oilers is that if Skinner can find 25, maybe 30 goals, whether I'm not saying it's going to happen or not, but
Probably not.
from that position, that's like legitimate depth scoring. And that's one of the things that obviously over the last whatever amount of years, they've always asked the Oilers need more depth scoring. They're saying maybe in the playoffs, if that depth scoring, that one extra goal, maybe they win the Stanley Cup. Because obviously Florida was getting more depth scoring.
Yeah.
So if you can turn Skinner into a third line player and he can start producing from that spot, then I think that's a win.
That was his first game on that line last night, by the way.
It was a good line.
It worked really well. But Adam Henrique, I'd probably say to Coach Mike, I'm like, I think Adam Henrique has more fallen into that category of Knobloch, kind of converting him or helping him evolve into a third line player. About time he got going offensively. Those 2 goals he scored last night were nice. He's up to what, like 12 points, I think, on the season. Well below his scoring pace from last year. But yeah, I think, and I've talked to Adam, asked him about the third line thing, and he goes, yeah, it's different. I'm getting used to it. Not an excuse, but I mean, I think that was a good indicator last night. But I think too early to tell on Skinner, right? It's only been like a couple games. He was in the doghouse a week ago.
Yeah, he's
That's all
been
we were
a
talking
lot
about.
better since he got healthy scratched.
Yeah.
And maybe that was just a bit of the wake up call to be like, hey man, like if you can't get going here and you can't figure it out, you're not going to be playing. And sometimes players need a little bit of a wake up call just to get going and to kind of right themselves. And There's no reason that based on his skill set that he shouldn't be in your top 9.
I agree.
You could argue that he could be in the top 6, but I mean, top 9 is a very realistic thing. And whether Kane comes back or not is irrelevant if you have a guy in Jeff Skinner in your top 9 producing.
Yeah.
Because it makes you harder to play against. And the Oilers for, whatever, as long as McDavid's been around, have never been a ultra physical team. They're a team that's going to outskill you, and they're going to goat you into penalties, and then they're going to score on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got more skill throughout your lineup, and that's the way the Oilers feel that they have to win games, well, then you need to be producing 1 through 4. And that makes them the scary team, as opposed to physically beating up their opponents, a la Florida Panthers. So it's just a different style. It's probably closer to the 80s style, but it's the way they're playing.
Be honest with you guys, I enjoy watching the Florida Panthers beat up on teams.
Do you?
It's entertaining.
It is entertaining.
And they're not nice about it.
Nor should you be.
Yeah.
The official drink of the EST Hangout. It is the Finnish long drink, legend of 1952, a drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada is where you can go to enter the postal code and find a liquor store nearest you, which will have it or has recently ordered it and has it in stock. And you could also get it at Rogers Place at various events. If you head down there, including Oilers games, as they are also partnered with the Edmonton Oilers. Don Ellis has this in the nasty chat. Which is a good question. Morning, boys. Why didn't anyone step up when Stu got run last night? I get Zadorov is a massive dude, but nobody went after him. What did you guys make of that? That it was just, he goes into Skinner. It's your goalie. He has to go into the concussion protocol to be looked at, which costs him the shutout.
Yep.
On his own record, it's now a team shutout. What do you make of the lack of response or the response that the Oilers gave for
it's not in their DNA, fortunately. Like, we've been talking about that lots. I mean, when Kane's around, yeah, he probably goes after him, but you don't want Darnell Nurse fighting as much, because right now, when you look at their D-core, if you remove Darnell Nurse, we've all seen what that looks like. So regardless of whether he's out for 5 minutes, you don't really want him out for 5 minutes because he's probably playing most of that 5 minutes. And so you just have a massive drop off after your top 3. And, Kulak is good defensively, but he's not in the same category as the other 3 defensemen. So it's hard for, I think Nurse probably would answer that, but I'm assuming they don't really want him doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go through the rest of the lineup, and then it goes, the next guy is Perry. And that's not Perry's. That's not even remotely close to his weight class.
But you have to do something in that moment. If you're on that ice, or is it fine, like, as long as the team all understands they're good in the room, or do you not have to then, like, okay, I'm going to have to go and
but it's never happened. It's never happened, because if you look at the Anaheim game, there was one sequence when Gudas threw a forearm shiver at McDavid and he knocked him over, and it was a big hit. And you're like, where's the response? That's the best player in the league, the world. And there was no response. Mm-hmm. So you can't expect that same response is going to now happen for Skinner. And it's just something that consistently happens. And, it's Lars Weiss says Bouchard was close. Bouchard isn't doing that. It's not even happening. It's not even remotely close to it. And it's not in the fabric of the Oilers outside of Kane and Nurse, but you don't want Nurse doing it. And Kane's not here. So.
Okay, Josh Brown. People were like, well, that's got to be on Josh Brown. And we talked about it on the postgame show last night. I'm like, yeah, I get it. And that's why Brown probably played last night after being called up last week. But
how many shifts did he get with Zadorov?
And I said that last night. And the other thing is, Louis pointed out, he goes, Josh Brown went and gave Zadorov a tap and said something to him. But if you're Zadorov and Josh Brown just got called up and he's essentially a minor league player, 7th, 8th defenseman on the team, like, are you even giving him?
You're not even giving him the time.
You lose the trade-off.
Yeah.
You're not giving him the time of day.
Right.
So you don't care.
You're looking down on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Zadorov is. So
Zadorov has always been a player that's got a little bit of arrogance. Like, I like him because he's got some nasty to his game. Mm-hmm. He's a solid defenseman.
He's a giant.
But he's also got like some arrogance to him. And so, yeah, Josh Brown, he's going to go out. Sure. you're not worth my time. And actually, you can listen to Mike Dubs. Go on YouTube and listen to it. And Zadorov's been on it. And he's always saying that kind of stuff. Like, you're not worth my time. So, like, if Zadorov's going to fight somebody, it's going to be somebody that, A, he thinks he can handle, and B, somebody of worth. And if it's not worth his time, then, like...
He goes, go away, right?
He does.
There's that element to it.
So, like, yeah, you can dress Josh Brown, but, like, when it comes to the fighting element for Josh Brown, he's fighting other heavyweights.
Yeah.
Zadorov is not a heavyweight. I mean, he is in traditional standards, but he's not a guy that's going to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to go trade with Josh Brown. He's never going to do that. So,
yeah. It was something we discussed quite a bit last night. Because Stu got hit hard.
He did.
Like, he really did. And Zadorov did that intentionally. He got his penalty. Stu went to the quiet room, all that stuff. Lost the shutout. It ends up being a team shutout. But, and like, you could even see Stu's like, my chin, my neck, whatever. And, there was zero repercussion. There wasn't even anyone. I don't even think anyone went skated over to Zadorov. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, even give him like a slash on the pads just to be like, you can't do that. And throw in a few choice expletive words in there, but there was none of that.
Well, so in the nasty chat, it's like, if it's not worth his time, then Brown needs to pull a Fedrick on him and feed him shots in the corner while the play continues. Okay, then take a penalty. Like,
if they got scored on that penalty, yeah, I know.
It's
a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword, and it's hard because I don't disagree with what people are saying.
Same.
Like, Brown needs to go do something, and I get that standpoint. But from the flip side, in today's NHL, you don't have to answer that. You don't.
There is
you get to skate away. Like, back when I played, and once again, not angry man at the cloud, but like, you could literally hear guys on the bench be like, kill him. And it was like, Kate, we're going.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's like anymore. And so guys have to be willing to answer it. And if Zadorov doesn't want to answer it, he's got zero reason to answer it. So Josh Brown can come on the ice in his, what do you play, 7 minutes?
I think he actually had like 11 last night.
Did he?
Yeah.
In his 11 minutes, and you can be like, okay, you want to go? No. Okay, well, I'm going to jump you. Then jump me. I don't care. Because I'm just going to turtle and you're going to take a penalty. And then now you actually are handicapped because you put your team down.
That is where we're at. That is where we're at.
Yep.
I was trying to see, there was a shift chart thing on the NHL where you could look at when people are on the ice with who, and it's very complicated to use. Well,
the only thing you could realistically do if you're a team like the Oilers and you're upset about that stuff is you go after their star players and you just start making their life miserable.
I've always.
But once again, it's not in their DNA.
Yeah. That to me is always the way to do it. There's two ways. You either beat them on the scoreboard.
Yep.
And that's the way you do it, or you go after their stars. They're going to come after your players, you go after theirs.
Yep.
Someone should skate through the Swayman's crease.
Yeah.
Well, but Darnell kind of did.
And that's you do that in response as you do that to us, we're going to do it to you. Yeah. And it's not like we're going to come after you. Like, your star player's going to have to come to you and be like, why am I having to deal with this? Like, you caused this type of thing.
Yeah.
So the Oilers are more of the, we'll beat you on the scoreboard.
Yep.
We're going to go beat you with the scores. And they did last night.
Joe from Stoney said, whoa, Josh Brown played last night. Well played, Joe from Stoney.
Oilers do win another game, though, where they get into a fight.
Yeah. Yeah. There was the Perry-Frederick fight. And that's, again, not Perry's.
But they won again.
Yeah, exactly.
They fight and they win.
Yeah.
I don't know what their full record is now this season.
That's a guy that Perry can handle. And I would still say that Frederick won that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I love Perry because he's willing to do whatever he can to help the team win. But like, Perry, you're almost 40, brother. Relax.
Could you see yourself being on the hockey ice right now fighting?
I couldn't see myself being on an ice trying to fight someone at all right now. No, thank you.
Do you have any worry about Pitt coming up tomorrow? Because Tom, like, it's not worry, but like, you had a gut, like, just something like, says that maybe this is
weird
spot.
About tomorrow. Like, I hope I'm wrong. I looked at that game, like, I don't know. That could be the one that they bring their F game and
could be Crosby just willing his team to win because that's what he does.
Yeah,
I think they're still going to win it.
They should.
They should. I mean, if they decide that they're gonna show up, McDavid usually plays well against Crosby, though.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
So that's where I could see the Oilers winning that game.
If they win that game, then is the Blackhawks the concern? Like, should there
It
be?
should not be.
Well, but in the end, it's the end of a road trip where Seattle all the way out East Coast. Now you're in Chicago. Like you
That
had
would
just
be the
won.
trap.
You had
But it's
just
a
won
tire
5
fire.
straight.
That
Well,
would
that's
be
the thing. Is
trap
that the
game.
one where it's like, okay, we're done with this road trip. We've got 4 wins on this road
Who do
trip.
they have the first game home after the road trip?
LA.
Oof.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say one of the two of those is going to be the trap game. So it's either
Pitt or
you
Chicago?
go, if you win in Pittsburgh and you have a team that's like Chicago, it's your last game, the road trip. That's the one where you're going to be like, do I really need to show up for this one? Because if you don't do it that one, when you get home, you kick your feet up, you're kind of comfortable. Then all of a sudden you got LA coming in. That could be the other one. So,
Chicago is 13, 25, and 2.
Mm-hmm.
They have a 4-6 record in their last 10 on home ice this year, 8 and 11. So kind of creeping towards respectability. Minus 35 goal differential. They just switched their coach. They just hosted the Winter Classic and embarrassed themselves.
Mm-hmm. But it's the end of that road trip.
it's the end of
You're
the road trip.
done. You've had this successful road trip. You can lay a little bit of an egg because you're like, they're already thinking about home. They're already thinking about the Kings and maybe the Blackhawks surprise.
Like I can't.
I
Like
doubt
they're
it.
waking up in the morning, but like I can't wait to get home finally.
My own bed.
Yeah.
They've only been gone for a week.
Yeah,
Although
man, that's a week.
you're right. That is a great, you're like, I'll be sleeping in my bed tonight.
It's nice.
It is a great feeling.
Yeah. So
That's
Decent weather back here,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not like they're like, oh my God, it's minus 20. I got to go back to that. We're missing the nice weather in January.
Yeah.
yeah.
Got to get back to that.
And there's that snow, the crazy storm hitting like the U.S. right now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. Like everyone, especially towards the eastern part. I
It's
think
like
maybe
the
even
polar
the Midwest.
vortex is going down.
Yeah.
Oh, we usually
Making
always
things-
get
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Let them
Thank
have
God
it.
we did.
We always get the polar
Yeah.
vortex.
No,
I
you guys
understand
do that.
why.
Yeah.
Like I understand where we
Yeah.
are in geography and all that. But it's nice others. And well, those fires in California right now just going off.
Mhm.
Incredibly sad.
But yeah, we've got beautiful weather right now.
I would if
Debating
they,
whether to wash my car today.
I washed mine
It
yesterday.
needs to get washed,
Yeah.
but I'm debating whether it's worth it.
It's worth it. There's just something about walking to your like clean car.
But I know it's gonna get dirty like as soon as they take it out of the car.
Doesn't
wash.
even matter. It's something about just that clean car that just it feels good.
He is right.
There's nothing worse than when you're like you step out of your car and then like let's say somebody parks a little bit closer to you at a store, or the mall, or whatever.
Oh,
it
and you
looks like,
rub up.
and you rub up, and there's like dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It feels like spring with how nice, like, and the slush and all that.
Yeah,
I'm
Love
enjoying it.
This is all I wore today.
that's all you wore today.
That's
yeah?
all I wore
That's
today.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
We're so close to the end.
Of winter?
Yes.
Don't say that.
December
In terms of,
21st
like,
was
That
like
back
3 weeks
right
ago.
this minute. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
did I-
do
That's
that.
drywall.
There's studs somewhere. That's why I always go
okay.
across.
There's
I'm
wood
hitting a
there.
stud
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
somewhere. Okay, here's how I view this. Just bear with me.
Okay.
And maybe I'm a little different because I'm leaving in March for a couple of weeks. January is usually like one of the roughest months we
Mhm.
have. We're coming up on halfway through. Like
Mhm.
by the time next week rolls around, we're halfway through this month.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 weeks left of maybe getting hit hard. It's still that could still happen. February's hit and miss what we get. Sometimes we're hit hard, we're not. But it's a short month. And in March, it may still snow. It may still be a little cold, but we don't get the minus 40s or 30s in March.
All I'm gonna say is this.
And like we're in March. It's wonderful. The Briars just finishing up.
no,
We got the Players Championship in golf.
no.
Spring training
No.
is happening.
No.
Masters, you can
You're
see
so
the
far.
Masters.
You're so far
You can
ahead of
see the
February right
Masters.
now.
That's
it's
the thing.
disgusting.
We've got 6 weeks left, and then you're in March.
Dude, by the time it hits January 18th, it's back double digits.
Yeah, I know.
minus. That's cold.
6 weeks.
I can't do anything past minus 10. I like just shut down. My body shuts down. I'm done. So it's going to be minus 14 to minus like
You got 6
16.
weeks.
And then you got February, and February can be an absolute dagger.
Yes, but it's 28 days. Short.
28 days of dagger is
Short.
a lot of dagger, man.
It's a lot of dagger on it.
6 weeks. We
No.
got 6 weeks left. Plus, every day it's getting brighter out. just that little bit more brighter. And actually, I think right away soon it like starts getting by a noticeable amount.
I'm thankful for that.
It's like we're almost done. We almost survived.
No, knock on wood. Don't do that.
It's not, I'm not saying
Because if we get a stretch of like minus 50 again, like we did last year, I'm hunting your blank down.
because I'm not saying we're not going to get it. We got 6 weeks to get through it.
Oh,
March, you're not getting that in March.
6
When was the
weeks?
last time in March we had like a deep cold?
Probably 2 years ago.
Clausen's texting me right now. Clausen, when was the last time in March we had a deep, deep cold? He says cold air might drop in around Jan 18 to 19. Until then, mid. And Jan 18 to 19 is a long ways away, so that could always change.
Yeah.
Feb can be stupid cold, and I'm aware. We got 6 weeks. That's it.
6
That's all
weeks
that's
of
left.
like nasty cold is a long time.
Take away 1 week. Clausen says 18th through the 19th.
Clausen, if we get
So we
cold
still got
weather,
another. So
send
now I'm
it
down
back,
to
right?
5 weeks. I'm down to 5 weeks left of Christmas Christmas
Okay.
of winter.
Can you ask Josh how
He
cold
says, I
was
agree
it?
with Shawn. Enjoy this reprieve. Winter isn't over. I'm
Thank
saying
you.
we're almost done. We're close to the end. We just got 6 more weeks, people. And then it's March. And we're right there.
Yeah, but there's always a snowfall in May.
But it melts immediately.
Oh, it was cold last year in May.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
May long weekend
May
sucks.
long weekend.
Actually, May
sucks
long weekend was
every
good
year.
last year, I remember.
I think it was in Vegas, so I'm a good.
Nah, it's
Lucky.
Yeah.
a part of it. 2 weeks I'm in Mexico, or like for 10 days. and
This is why
I'm
you're
in Mexico
feeling.
in
This is
March.
why you're
I'm
feeling
almost
this way.
there.
You
and
have
it's
something
good.
to look forward to.
Yeah,
But-
the rest of us, like, we've got 6 weeks of like this could be absolute
Dog
oh,
crap.
Yeah,
I didn't say the 6 weeks can't be bad. I'm saying we just have 6 weeks to get through, and really only 5, because it's going to be nice for another week.
for
still
you
here.
it's 5 because
For
you're
all of us.
disappearing.
No, because once you're in March, it's not going to get it's not going to get that cold.
Okay,
It's going to be minus
I
10 at
want
worst.
So
all
you're car washing your
179
car?
people
Oh,
in
that's
this
where this
nasty
came from.
chat to book this. If it gets cold at any point in March,
March?
we are hunting.
What
you
are we
down.
calling cold? I'm saying below like 12.5, minus 12.5 degrees. And give myself
That's
that
cold.
0.5.
That's
very cold.
freezing
That's very
at that
cold.
time of the
Yeah,
year.
we're not going to get below 12.5 as a high. I'm not talking about overnight lows and all that crap. We're inside at that point. I'm talking about highs.
All right.
Josh never answered that question for me. How cold can Marches get generally, Josh? When was the last time we had a deep cold in March?
I want
Probably a couple years
Clausen
ago.
weather
Mm-mm.
blast.
Mm-mm. Thanks for listening again, though,
Oh,
Josh.
El Presidente. May long weekend was windy and cold.
Thank you,
Thank you.
El Presidente.
What was the
Yeah.
temp?
Minus 10.
No, it wasn't.
It was freezing. I remember that last year. It was freezing.
You would be a great fill-in weather guy. I just want to say that.
I think I'd be great.
You'd just be straight up with everyone. It's going to be cold this weekend. If to wear an extra layer, this sucks. Back
Yeah.
to you, Jeff.
Yeah.
6 weeks, really only 5 weeks of cold to deal with. We're good. We're set.
Like
We're
if
there.
if in my world, if you are at like minus 20, just cancel school. Cancel school, stay home. It's too cold. You might die.
Let's cancel everything.
Like you don't need to be in any rinks. Just stay home.
I'm not disagreeing with that. As I've gotten older, I don't have tolerance for the cold anymore.
We're almost there. I think
If it
you just
snows-
be positive. That's
If
the
it
other thing.
snows more
Positive
than
thinking.
5 centimeters, stay home.
It's positive thinking.
I respect positive.
I respect it too, but we live in Edmonton. There's got to be some
You know what happens in March?
realism to this.
You know what happens in March? You got trade deadline day.
Mm-hmm.
You then got the playoff stretch, the push.
Yippee.
But once again, it's
all feeling
Edmonton.
good.
We
It's
got to
all
have some
feeling
realism.
good.
It's
Eh,
like
it's all
sitting
feeling
back
good.
and saying in the fall, man, I can't wait for that first snowfall
I
when
hate
everybody
that.
forgets how to drive in snow. Well, we live in a winter city,
It's all
and yet
feeling good.
somehow we're shocked by snow.
It's feeling
Hot damn, it's slippery out today. No kidding, it is.
good. It is
What's that
incredible.
stuff on the ground?
First week of March last year had strings of highs below minus 12.
No.
That's what Clausen
Oh,
says.
thank you, Josh, for that.
Yeah, so
dose
we're
of
not.
reality.
That was last year. It's not going to be this year.
Raider Jesse, it was minus 25, March 4th, 2022.
Yeah.
He pulled up the chart. See, this is my point. Don't you do this.
Bronco Nick. March 6th last year was minus 35 overnight.
Yeah, I don't care about overnight.
Everybody dies. Are you kidding me?
I specifically said I don't care about
Stop
overnight.
this.
I care about the high. I care about the daytime high.
Are you high?
I wish.
This is
Yeah.
absolute insanity.
It's positive
you need
thinking,
to knock
people.
on wood. Because
You
this
knocked
might
on
not
drywall.
this
I
might
walked on
not
a-
end in 6 weeks. This could go longer.
Bring it to Mother Nature. Bring
Oh
it.
my god. So wash your car today.
Okay, gold medal Mark, who was wash your car today. Gold medal Mark, who did he was a traffic reporter. He did the helicopter, right?
Oh, cool.
He's like, I'd love to do a straight up traffic report, much like the straight up fill in weather. It would contain swears, I'm pretty sure. Gold medal Mark.
It'd
Yeah.
be so good.
It wouldn't just be like the 107th Ave backed up due to volume. It'd be 107th Ave backed up because idiots don't know how to negotiate a traffic circle. Back to you.
Josh Clausen, I want to be filling on weather. Just
Make
one
it
day.
happen.
One time Scott McCord lost a bet and he had to do weather. And
That's
it was
awesome.
hilarious.
I would love it.
Because I think he had to do it in a certain... Did he have to do it in a Flames jersey or something?
Ouch.
And he just... Well, McCord's great and he could play those bits a little bit really well. But it was like down in the dumps and stuff and like, it's this and...
I can see Pouty McCord.
yeah,
I
it
can
was,
see
it
that.
was
I
awesome.
miss Scott.
I will see him in later this month when we get
Excellent.
closer to when we only have a month left of winter. I've got my Dunya Championship AGM night. Very excited about that. Very excited.
What is incredible is you guys have an AGM night for a 4-team Canadian football fantasy league.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
And we discuss the Canadian Football League and we look back on the past season and we kind of look ahead to the upcoming
That just
season.
sounds like
And
four
we-
friends getting together drinking.
Sometimes Dave Jameson shows up, so we get a fifth friend.
Excellent.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. We do it twice a year.
So
Draft
that's
and
your
this night.
excuse to just go
Well,
hang out with those four
it's now
friends
one
and
of
just
those like
drink?
I get to see like I see Scott now like twice a year for sure.
Yeah.
Those 2 nights.
Yeah, there
It's
it is.
wonderful.
Yeah.
We do like there's less to there's less to work on for the league. Like we've dealt with a lot of rules.
Yep.
This year there'll be a couple things about it. Last year was a big year. We did introduce the Rouge to the league. So well, you guys are very happy about that. But so it's and then I get my championship. There's a lot to be discussed. Clausen also does say I'm off at the end of Jan. Tell Shawn I'll put in a good word for him.
Thank you.
All right. Belzy.
Yeah, I'm in.
Gold medal Mark follows up with the white mud is expletive both ways. Just stay home from Global One. Gold medal Mark.
Yeah,
I like it.
the Henday too.
Yeah. No.
There's days with
Henday's
Henday.
usually pretty good.
in the Southwest. Are you
No,
kidding
maybe
me?
not that part. Well, in terms of cleaning it, because it's that P3 or whatever, so it's like privately looked after.
Mm.
And like as soon as it snows, they're out there shoveling it or like whatever, clearing it,
there's that-
de-icing it, all that stuff. The Henday is very nice to drive for a large part in the winter. And not in terms of the traffic part of it, but in terms of them keeping it clear.
The Southwest leg from about, let's say, the QE2 or Calgary Trail to just after Terwilliger Drive is a joke. It's got like, it's a different road. It's not like, it's not pavement. It's like the concrete.
Yeah.
And it's like super slick. It's not great. It's super congested there. Probably needs like 4 to 5 lanes. And
Does it
like,
only have 2? Is
it's
that
got-
the portion that
there's
only has
there's
2?
certain points that have 3.
Okay.
But then it goes down to no, it's all 3 the whole way now. But it's just ugh. And it's fresh in my mind because like the left lane, usually you're supposed to drive a little faster in the left lane, but that doesn't happen.
Oh,
And so
the
then it's like-
obnoxious left laners.
Ugh. Henday,
Get out of the way.
woof.
Lieutenant Eric in the Nasty Chat, couple comments. It's essentially pre-spring. As he puts it. He does say for the Dunya AGM night, it's on Chinese New Year's nonetheless. Rumors of a big announcement on AGM night as well. I have a feeling I know what this is.
Oh.
I have a feeling, but the league's office will wait until we hear from the Memphis Mad Dogs on January 29th. Stay tuned to the Dunya on X/Twitter.
Yes.
For the big announcements that will come from said night.
I want to get this off my chest.
It's
So-
a safe space.
Yeah. So,
Welcome to Tree of
so you know
Trust.
when The Rock bought the XFL,
Yes.
and then there was a USFL, and then obviously we have the CFL up here. When they were like talking about the expansion of the CFL, like trying to expand the merger and combining with them, I was like, there could be a really cool, could be an unbelievable league like if you created the CFL rules and you brought it down to like the XFL and you had like all your different divisions, because there was like pretty good cities down in the XFL at the time. And I was thinking about them, like you could have like little groupings where it was like Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and I couldn't remember if it was Seattle.
Seattle's in the
like that would be your
Dragons.
four. That would be your your 4-team division. And then you move over to the West and you could have, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. You had 2 teams that were kind of in that area. I'm like, man, this could be actually an unbelievable situation. I'm kind of disappointed it didn't happen. But at the same time, I'm so thankful it didn't happen, because obviously they would have came in and just created so much instability and it would have just turned into a mess. But I was thinking about just like the opportunity, because obviously the CFL a long time ago was in the States and there were some like decent teams, like, Baltimore was good. Shreveport sucked.
We're all in our league American franchises.
Oh, really?
I'm the Sacramento Gold Miners.
I love it.
No one touches Baltimore, though.
I love
it's
it.
unwritten rule that no one touches Baltimore. We'll never be Baltimore.
I love how they had to be the CFLers for a small window of time because they couldn't be the Colts.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I thought with the way that the teams were in the cities that they're in, if there was a merger, it would have been awesome for the league. And it would have cut down on a lot of travel costs because of placement.
There was a lot of it, like, I was completely against it.
I think it was Toronto.
A couple of reasons. It was MLSC.
Yeah,
it was kind of pushy a little bit. One is I'm still not sold on the UFL. They're going into year 2 now.
Are they actually
or
going
something?
through with year 2? That's what I'm wondering.
I think so. Because like XFL, UFL, or USFL, whatever it was,
whatever
they
it's
had
called
2
now.
years ago. This past year was UFL merger.
Yep.
Next year, I think they're still planning to go ahead UFL. But like TV numbers, the CFL gets better numbers almost than they get.
That's
all
why
of that.
I thought it needed to be TSN or CFL related.
But here was where the issues comes. One is, okay, what rules are they playing?
CFL. They should.
It wouldn't last. America, you can't.
You can't do it.
I don't think you could go sell that game, and you would struggle in those cities to a degree. Number 2, you would have to then lose the Canadian ratio because in the States they don't have to. It goes against labor laws down there. So those teams would just be so dominant. 3, right off the bat, Americans would be like, okay, well, I'm playing in these 2 leagues. They're the same, or this one league, it's the same. Well, I'm going to try to play in the American cities and go to Canada. Yeah. So the Canadian markets will all of a sudden, right off the bat, go down. And then it's, what are you paying currency? Are we like the NHL pays American dollars, if I'm not mistaken, across the board? Canadian, like Connor McDavid gets paid American. Are you going American or are you going Canadian? With the way the dollar is, that would cause a lot of instability.
100% it would.
So there were, at the time, information like this doesn't. The Rock is cool, but if there was no Rock, I don't think a lot of people would care and want this. It was because of the Rock. Yep. So I was very glad, and I still am glad they didn't do that.
The idea would have been cool, just to see like what they could have done with it. But I do agree with you. I thought it would have been not great. And there'd have been a lot of tumultuous times.
I agree.
Before you get to what you're going to say, this is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts. More than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Right now, Snowy Savings is on. First 4 weeks free cancellation. Sentinel.ca for more information. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle with you here on the Hangout, live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Yes, sir. The 2025 UFL schedule has officially dropped.
Before the CFL? Maybe the CFL should have merged.
Shots fired.
10-week schedule, and it opens up with the Battlehawks of St. Louis facing off against the Roughnecks from Houston. And they have the 2 divisions. One's USFL, and then the XFL divisions. It's happening, and
the only team that has done well attendance-wise is St. Louis.
Louis, yeah.
I wonder if I could find attendance. St. Louis averaged last year, like, it's not even close. St. Louis averaged 33,677.
Yeah.
The next closest was San Antonio, who averaged just under 15,000. And then DC had averaged just under 15,000. Birmingham averaged just over 10,000.
Yeah.
And then Arlington, Michigan, Houston, and Memphis averaged between 10,000 and 6,800. The Toronto Argonauts had more people than 4 of the teams in the USFL
and
last year.
That's sad.
But no one was talking about how the XFL or the UFL, I always call it the XFL.
Well,
the
it has an
UFL
XFL
was
division.
like, oh, like their league's in trouble. But then people in Canada wanted to look at like the Argos. Well, oh, the CFL's in trouble. It's like, well, the majority of our attendances here are better than them down there.
For those leagues, does it make sense not to just become the development system of the NFL?
The trouble with that is, and they are like the CFL. There's a lot of players that have gone from the XFL, the USFL, and the UFL to the National Football League.
Yeah, look at the kicker for the Lions.
The issue is with the NFL is why would they want to join up forces? They don't have to spend a single dime, and they get those players still. They get the CFL players. They get those players. It is a development system without them having to spend a single cent on it. And they could just go, we'll take the best from you. We're good. We're fine. We don't need to be, if there's ever sort of any litigation with concussions down the line. They're not connected to those leagues.
Yeah.
They just get to stay far back, but they get all the benefits of a development league without having to do it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they just have those guys at the end of the rosters that, they're so interchangeable. And, some of those guys just need the ability to be able to go out and play and play a little bit more. So where do those guys go? They don't go anywhere. They just sit on the end of the bench. And then 2 years down the road, they're cut. So that's kind of the only reason I was like, well, maybe the NFL needs a development league, but I get where you're coming from. Like with the, you don't need to spend a dime, but for those guys at the bottom end of the roster, what are you supposed to do to now try to break in?
Good point. I'll throw this in there as well. And because people have brought this idea up in regard to the CFL. Hypothetical. Bear with me here. You make the CFL the development league for the NFL, and the USFL fades away or UFL fades away, whatever. Like it probably will. And you go, okay, the CFL is now tied to the NFL 100%, and it's the development league. Would the Edmonton Elks with a Green Bay Packers patch on the one shoulder and a Tampa Bay Buccaneers patch on the other shoulder make you, the general fan in Edmonton, any more enticed to go and watch a game at all?
My initial reaction would be no.
Exactly.
Because you're not seeing the Patrick Mahomes still. You're not seeing the top players. You're seeing that fourth stringer that you don't care about watching on Sunday anyways right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is, though, there are some that are just so like the NFL is the greatest league, and now if the CFL is with it, they would maybe give more credibility to the CFL.
Would
maybe
they
not
show
to watch
up,
it, but they would. That's where it's. I don't know if they'd
But
show
then
up.
they would
No
have
point.
to change the rules of the league.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now,
fit.
but now mentally, maybe for some of those people, they would sit there and be like, "Well, the NFL recognizes this league, even though the NFL does recognize this league."
Very much
Yeah.
so.
But now, like officially, if